Hey everybody, Derek here to bring you another video for The Walking Dead Season 6. And what this video is going to be doing is giving an updated predictions video for Glenn and for Maggie as well. It's really going to be focusing a lot on Glenn and the potential of, is his luck going to run out by the end of Season 6? What is his relationship and Maggie's story going to be together in the later half of Season 6? And what does the future hold for their characters? If you are not caught up with the comic books, there are going to be major spoilers coming up about Glenn and Maggie's story and what their story is right now in the comic book. So if you don't know what that is and you do not want to be spoiled in any way, and if you're not caught up with the television show, then exit the video now and come back later, because otherwise you will be majorly spoiled. Okay. Well, the reason why I brought this up is, Glenn, looking back at the show, I've been rewatching all of the episodes, and I realized that Glenn has had the most near-death experiences on the show out of, I think, any character. It's just amazing how lucky Glenn is. I mean, part of it's luck, but part of it's also, his tough skills as a survivor. He is very resourceful. He is tough enough to defend himself, but only because of very good storytelling and lucky situations at times has he been able to get out of the situations he was in. And, we've seen that Glenn has done this sometimes to save other people. We've seen that some of the situations he put himself in was really to help other people, like Noah, Rick, and Tara. We've seen him put his life on the line and almost dying to save the three of them. And, along the way, we've seen Glenn really, put himself out there at risk because of the people that he loves and cares about. And it's very noble of him and very, strong for his character. It's something that he's been doing ever since the beginning. And I really have to wonder if his luck is going to run out. And I've actually made a list of all of the times he has almost died. First time I noted was Rick in the tank. He stuck his neck out for Rick, went down into the alley, the walkers were chasing him. That could have ended badly. So while not necessarily as close of a call, I still count it. You also have, he put himself at risk with Merle, by not talking to Merle, by not giving into the interrogation, and then Merle putting that walker in there. I mean, that could have ended badly as well, and Glenn could have been bitten, but he wasn't. So you have that. He almost gets killed from the virus. The virus in season 4 almost ended him. Then, of course, when he was at the prison, right after it fell, he almost got devoured by that small group of walkers. And then because he saved Tara, Tara saved him. Later, when Glenn kind of passed out from exhaustion after they got outside the walls and right before meeting Abraham, Rosita, and Eugene. So that's another one. The tunnel in season 4, episode 15, when Tara got stuck, Glenn refused to leave her behind. He only had a couple of bullets. And had it not been for the miraculous appearance of Abraham, Rosita, Eugene, Sasha, Bob, and Maggie, that probably would not have ended very well for him. You have Terminus. That guy tried to swing the baseball bat 3 times at his head. Almost got him. Just only due to little subtleties did he not continue to swing. So that's another one. The Distance, the episode, season 5, episode 11, when the group got out of the car and started running away. You have those walkers chasing him down. The one grabs him from behind, and Glenn, has to bash the walker's head against a rock. Very close call there. The revolving doors, trying to save Noah and Nicholas at the same time. We have that. We have Nicholas shooting Glenn, and then Glenn almost getting eaten by those walkers. I don't know how in the world he escaped from that alive, but he did in the season 5 finale. Then you get to season 6, and now you have the close call with the Walker herd in the episode Thank You, where Nicholas shot himself and ended up hitting into Glenn, and because Nicholas's body fell on top of Glenn's, and because Glenn crawled under the dumpster that Glenn lived, and now this latest episode when he gets back to Alexandria and he almost gets eaten by the herd again. Just to save Maggie, which is, again, noble, but holy moly, I think that's almost a dozen times that I just counted that Glenn has almost died. And it really does make you wonder, how much more can the man put himself at risk and get lucky? And I really have to wonder, will Glenn's character make it out of season 6 alive, or is his luck going to run out? Because I could see it going either way. What does the future hold for him and Maggie? Well, part of me thinks that now with everything going in a different direction, I think that Maggie is going to want Glenn to be, safer. I said in my other prediction video for the next episode that I think there's going to be a time jump based on the fact that there seems to be more fixtures around the gate, the poles in the ground that are impaling walkers, kind of like they had at the prison, and that Morgan set up. And I think there's been some time that has passed. And obviously we saw just how concerned Maggie was, thinking that Glenn was dead, and then to get him back and almost see him die again. I think that Maggie, has been pushed to the brink with this. The two of them used to fight side by side, but with Maggie being pregnant, you definitely want to be a lot safer, because if she dies, the baby dies. And I think that maybe she might be arguing that Glenn needs to stay in the walls, and Glenn may have this idea of, look, I need to do my part just like everybody else. This is a source of issue for the two of them in the comic books right around volume 13 and later on too, where, Glenn gets recruited as a scavenger for Alexandria. That means he has to go outside the walls, and it scares Maggie to death, to think about him going back out there when they're safe. And she actually gets angry that this is the job that he has to do. And Glenn just kind of says, look, Maggie, it's what I'm good at. I have to do my part so that we can stay here. And Maggie doesn't like the fact that he goes out there. And I think that's going to be a big problem the two of them may be facing in this upcoming season. Because, Glenn has always been somebody that Rick has relied on for a variety of missions. And that's understandable because Glenn has had Rick's back so much. And, it may cause a rift with Maggie, to know that Glenn has almost died all these times. And again, I think just lately, actually seeing it. I mean, they thought that there's no way in the world that Glenn survived that out there. He survived, despite all odds, comes back, almost dies again in episode 9. And I just think that really, I don't think you can play the Glenn miraculously escapes card too many more times before people are kind of like, okay, I get it. I'm glad that Glenn is alive. Don't get me wrong. I love his character. His character is one of the favorites of mine. And I love the way that he is. I love the passion that he has. And his ideals are very, very good and could be used later, depending on how the story goes. But, I really get concerned about his character as we keep on going. And really wondering, can he keep putting himself at risk and survive? Will his luck run out? Because there are a couple of signs that, a lot of us have been wondering what's going to happen when Negan comes. Because we know that from the comic books, Glenn gets killed by Negan. He gets killed with Negan's baseball bat, Lucille, because of all the encounters that Rick's group had with Negan that ended up with several of the Saviors getting killed. And, many people have been wondering, well, are they going to go through with this or are they not? Are they going to change the story for Glenn or not? And they might. I could see that happening for sure. But on the other hand, I could see them going with the story. Because really, it could have two effects. Sometimes you kind of like to go inside the audience's head and try to figure out what might shock them, what might upset them. And I think that some of those factors can play into determining what they're going to do. And with everything that has been going on with Glenn's story, with his near-death experiences, and us thinking that he was dead, it does make me wonder if the show is going to kill him in the season 6 finale, like in the comic books. Because, for one, it would definitely be a death that would affect a lot of the other characters. Two, to me, I think it would be even more devastating to do it that way. Some of you may feel different. Some of you may feel it might be too predictable, and I respect that and I understand that. But on the other hand, it's kind of like, well, they've been putting the guy at risk for so long that, well, if they kill him off, it's just going to be predictable. But on the other hand, when you look at the story as a whole, seeing him survive and then get killed like this in the season 6 finale after he just, made it miraculously out of the dumpster, and after coming back and being reunited with Maggie, and maybe to see the two of them together and have hope for the future after all of these devastating things have happened, what more of a devastating way can you think of destroying that than by killing Glenn, just like he dies in the comics? I think that's a very good possibility. I think it would be more devastating. I think that to see it actually happening and connecting it with the story and watching it before your very own eyes, I think that it would be more of a serious impact, and I could see it happening. Plus, I also can't get out of my head the fact that Maggie got that haircut. Well, the actress Lauren Cohen. I can't get past that. It does make you wonder exactly what that means for her character. Is she going to, be mourning the death of Glenn? Is this haircut because of Glenn's death? Is it perhaps to make her, feel tougher? Is it to maybe, look at herself differently in the mirror because she doesn't want to be reminded of things before? Like I explained in one of my previous videos about Maggie, some people when they end up getting out of a relationship, they'll do different things. They might change their hairstyle, they might change their facial hair features, they might lose weight, dress different, things like that. We try to do that because it doesn't remind us of some of the things before. And, I can't get it out of my head that potentially, the reason why this has been done is because of the fact that Glenn may have died. And that when we get into season 7, that Maggie might, be a completely different character. Now, in the comic books, she does it a lot earlier, because Glenn and Maggie were exploring the barbershop and thought, hey, why not? Let's get a haircut because, the Georgia weather is very hot. We're sweating all the time. It's not like you're going to wash your hair anyways. But, I think there's a specific reason why they haven't done it yet. And I'm interested to see the context that they will do it in. And it might be, again, in response to Glenn's death. But there is a possibility that Glenn may continue to survive. And I won't be upset if that's the case. Again, I love Glenn's character. There's a reason to keep him around and keep him alive. I say fight for it. Keep the man on the screen because I do love his character. He's amazing. I understand the show has to kill characters, but if there's an argument to spare some, I say continue to spare them. Let the story continue. But if that happens, I think it's going to mean that his character is going to have to change. And I think that when we see the Saviors War coming, and the group is fighting against the Saviors, we may see Glenn's character change and become a lot tougher. Glenn's never killed a person before. And I think that getting into this kind of a situation, going to war with an individual like Negan and his men, the group is going to have to get tougher. And maybe the show might not want to change Glenn's character in that way. That killing him would, in a sense, have us remember a better Glenn than what he might become if Negan were to harm somebody in his group and if he would have to fight to keep Alexandria safe. So there's a lot of different possibilities that may be happening. And who knows, maybe Glenn might die a different way than he does in the comics. But again, it's definitely something to wonder about. The fact that he keeps on surviving these very close near-death experiences, I have to wonder if his luck will run out by the end of season 6. We'll have to wait and find out, but obviously I'm rooting for Glenn. If he can live, I say let him, because I do love his character. He's awesome. Steven Yeun is an absolute great actor. I really, really love the role that he plays, and I hope that he does stick around on the show. But we'll see what The Walking Dead has to offer. So with that, I'm going to bring this video to a close. I want to thank all of you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, don't be afraid to leave them. Feel free to subscribe. I do have more videos coming. And if you have any suggestions for future videos that you would like to see, don't be afraid to suggest them. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you very much for watching.